Welcome to a roundtable discussion, Why Komen Central Valley? I'm Sharon Johnson, Executive Director of the Susan G. Komen Central Valley affiliate. Joining me today are 5 project directors who represent the nonprofits who are grant recipients of the Susan G. Komen Central Valley affiliate. You may be wondering what the word grant means and how we award funds to these 5 agencies. You may have heard about the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure here in Fresno. This is a U.S. track and field 5K certified run, as well as a non-competitive walk. The purpose of the event is to raise breast cancer awareness and, more importantly, funds for local residents who are uninsured or underinsured. 75% of the net proceeds from our race stays right here in the community to fund these vital and life-saving programs: mammograms, diagnostic ultrasounds, lymphedema treatment, cancer-related legal issues, redefining hope for breast cancer survivors, and limited financial assistance so that breast cancer survivors can keep treatment appointments. Once a year, nonprofits submit an application for funding to the affiliate. A grant review committee reviews these applications and scores them. Programs that are funded meet our strict criteria that is based on making education, screening, and treatment available to our local women and men. The remaining 25% of the net proceeds from the race funds grant process through Komen National Breast Cancer Research. I'd like to introduce you to Jill McCarthy, Project Director for a grant for Heinz Hospice. How are you doing, Jill?
Hi, great, Sharon. Thank you for having me here
Thank
today.
you for being here today. Let's first discuss a little bit about hospice. What exactly is it?
Certainly. Hospice is for those who have been given a 6-month or less prognosis from their doctor. All the cures have been tried, and now it's just they need care. They still need medical care, but the focus isn't going to be on curing, it's going to be on comfort. And so we are now providing that care in people's homes where they live, and we can provide that care if they live in assisted living or skilled nursing as well.
Great. Can you tell me the name of your project and exactly what the project is all about?
We called it the Legacy Leaving Project for this grant cycle. And we noticed in our breast cancer patients, oftentimes they're younger. They have children or family or grandchildren that they're leaving behind, and their concerns are what's going to happen to them when I'm gone. And so we put our heads together and said, how about having something where they can leave a legacy for those that will be left behind. So we asked to have the opportunities to allow our patients to journal. They have cards. They can give cards for occasions that are coming in advance. They can leave oral history recordings, because we were allowed to partner with StoryCorps, an organization out of New York that records oral histories throughout the U.S. and then archives a copy in the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. So the family itself has a copy of that oral history, and then also in the Library of Congress. And then we have hand molds. They're these lovely ceramic hand molds so people can, clasp hands, put them in the mold and pull them out, and so they'll have those statues. So that's why we call it Legacy Leaving. They're just very special moments that our hospice patient with breast cancer can leave for their families.
That's a wonderful program, because not everybody has that opportunity to leave a legacy, and to have an opportunity of something that's well thought out and planned not only means and is of great therapy to the patient themselves,
Exactly.
but also to the family members. So I really commend you on that. Can you explain about some of the psychosocial needs of one approaching the end of life, especially if they're younger? What are their main concerns?
If there's family, first and foremost, it's what's going to happen to my children. I'm not going to get to be there to mother them. So that's usually first and foremost, or my husband or my wife, because we do have male breast cancer patients as well. So they often, again, are worried and concerned about family and just missing those big moments, missing that wedding, that graduation, those kinds of, monumental monumental, I can't even say the word. So we try to address that on how in the time that's remaining, because hospice really is about quality of life.
Right.
In the time, we're still human, it's natural, but we're trying to give quality of life in the time that's remaining. So sometimes you can have reenactments of those events. We've had weddings that we've put on so that family can all attend and be there. We've been able to have graduation ceremonies and make sure that someone can be there, or those big events. So the fears on the psychosocial, we can work within the family with the children also to say, what do you want to do for mom in the time she has left, and kind of a bucket list almost that they can take care of. So we just try to work to address those fears and concerns and find bridges and ways to have them have special moments to the best of their ability in the time
You just said the key word, special moments and memories. I know that things have changed a great deal since my mother passed in 1982, and we didn't have the preparation while she could enjoy quality of life. So she did leave a legacy, of course, but there's nothing really on film. There's nothing really to look back with unless we're looking back at some photography. So what that is doing is really providing those memories, even for children that may not remember their parent, and that is the only way that they'll remember a parent. So it's a fantastic program. So this helps the family cope as well when their loved one passes. Not only is it what we call a legacy, but it could be a legacy for many, many generations to come.
Exactly, exactly. And then part of the hospice program is we offer the grief support. And that's a really big piece. And we find for those patients, they find comfort and relief in knowing that their family's going to have that grief support provided to them. And so in that grief support, it's making those memories and how to keep them alive and how to process through. It's difficult when we lose somebody we love.
Very much so, but if you have help navigating like what you're doing, it's just so much more meaningful after that passing, that you always know you can go back and take a look. Right. And that's so important.
Right. And that those memories are something you will cherish for always.
Yeah. Now on the films, are they on CD or?
These are actually, they're not visual, they're only oral histories.
Okay.
So they do get them in a CD.
Okay.
So and it can be with different family members, and so there's usually the storyteller.
Okay.
And then someone who's been asking different questions. Awesome. Yeah. And so families come back to us later and they say, I wasn't quite ready to listen to it right away, but now that I've sat down and listened to it, it's that I'm so grateful to have this.
Right.
To have their voice on tape and to hear those stories of their childhood or whatever they talked about, because it's just a conversation. They can talk about anything they went to. And so some of the funny things, we've had songs that were sung that they remember when they were children, and those kinds of things that are special, that make our life special.
Well, and I'm just thinking back now on how someone that really hasn't discussed a great deal of their family history with their family can record this. Now, as technology changes, I imagine there will be an advancement. They'll have something else other than a CD that it can be transferred onto as well.
Exactly. And the Library of Congress piece is just an extra bonus, because any of us, if you travel to Washington, you can go to the folkloric section of the Library of Congress and you can put on headsets and listen to these stories.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so people could just come, again, generations. And the family's given a certificate with the exact number of their recording, and so they can put it on and say, I want to listen to my great-great-great-grandma's story and be able to hear that. So that's just an added bonus.
So it's not just history for the family, it's actually history for the entire
for the United States, or anyone that travels.
I didn't realize that, and I'm so glad we talked about that. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Oh, Sharon, thank you
really
so much.
Really appreciate it. We love working with you, and we're going to talk about the Race for the Cure, Saturday, October 25th at Fresno State. We would love you all to join us and take the Power of 10 challenge. Everybody that accepts the Power of 10 challenge will ask 10 friends, family members, or co-workers just for $10. That way everyone can raise $100. Thank you. I'm Sharon Johnson, the Executive Director of the Susan G. Komen Central Valley affiliate. Did you know that when you participate and fundraise for the Race for the Cure in Fresno, you're making an investment in a healthier future for local women and men in our community? 75% of the net proceeds from the race stays local to fund life-saving education, screening, and treatment programs. 25% of the remaining proceeds funds breast cancer research. I've survived breast cancer twice due to cutting-edge breast cancer research. In order to continue funding free mammograms, lymphedema treatment, and breast cancer education for all cultures, we need your help. Please consider taking our Power of 10 challenge to raise $100, and it's so easy. Just ask 10 family members, friends, or coworkers for just $10. That $100 can pay for testing for your mom, sister, aunt, or friend. That $100 can help save a life. To learn more about the programs that are available, visit KomenCentralValley.org. Grants. Thank you for your support. Welcome back as we continue our discussion with two additional grantees. I would like to introduce Julie Ruiz, Project Coordinator for a grant from California Health Collaborative, and Bao Tao, Project Director for a grant from Fresno Health Consumer Center, a project of Central California Legal Services. Thank you, ladies, for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
We'll start with Bao. What's the name of the project there, and tell us a little bit about it.
The name of the project is called Breast Cancer Education and Screening Project. We do educational pieces for just to make the family aware of the program and also breast cancer. And we do free screening, provide free screening for men and women in Fresno County.
And your education is so important because how many different cultures or nationalities do you suppose you serve there?
Oh, many. I know we have a big group of Hispanic population, and the Asian population is Vietnamese population that we have, and so we work with a lot of individuals who are out there in the rural area as well, and so majority of these people don't speak English.
Okay, so what you primarily serve are English-speaking, Spanish-speaking, Southeast Asian, and what would those include in the Southeast Asian population?
We have Chinese, we have Vietnamese, we have Cambodian, and we're trying to get into the Hmong population. I know that being a Hmong myself, I mean, there's still that barrier there, and we're still trying to get into that, work a little into that.
Okay. And how does a client go about requesting assistance with your organization? If someone calls and we're talking about routine screening now is what the Komen grant provides. And we'll talk in a minute with Julie about the difference between routine screening and diagnostic. But if I filled a question in my office about where they can obtain screening, and I would refer them to you, what would be the next steps on your part?
I like to meet the individual. If not, you know, we can do everything over the phone. But most importantly is I would like an order form from the doctor, a prescription or referral or something like that from the doctor, so that I know that it's not a diagnostic that they need, that it's a screening, routine screening that they need. Mm-hmm. And once I receive that, I will go ahead and make an appointment for them with one of the imaging centers that we work with.
That's great. Thank you so much, Bao. And Julie, what's the name of your project? And tell me a little bit about yours.
The project that I work for is the Patient Navigation and Support Project. And what we do is we provide financial and community resources to individuals. And we help them through the screening, the diagnostic, and then we also help the ones that are going through treatment.
Okay. So you're a patient navigator as well?
Patient, yes.
That's
yes,
very important. a lot of people that are trying to navigate through the system, they may have either medical questions, insurance problems, or legal issues, and at least, you know, you can kind of point them in the right direction.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. What we do in our side is we get the referrals from the clinics. They send them to us, and that's when we help them with the financial part to send them to a diagnostic facility and to get the financial assistance so they could get help with that.
So a lot of times if someone calls and they say, I've lost my insurance, but I don't have the money for a routine mammogram and I've not been diagnosed with breast cancer before, I would have them call BOW. But if they find a lump in their breast or they already have pathology, I would have them call California Health Collaborative.
They would contact me, and of course they have to go through a screening process. They have to meet the poverty, the guidelines, and be symptomatic. Of course, we ask them, of course, if they're already saying they have a lump, and that's where the referrals, you know, will come in. I usually send them to you know, a clinic, and then they would do the screening, and then after that then they come back to me with the referral.
Mm-hmm. I know that a lot of the referrals that I'm sending over to either one of you, they have not been seen by anyone yet. The scary ones are those that don't know anything about Covered California and are not yet enrolled, have not realized by the time they were trying to enroll in Covered California, enrollment closed. So that's the benefit of still funding these mammograms, because there's many, many people out there that don't qualify for the state's program, Every Woman Counts, nor do they qualify for Medi-Cal. So this is the only means they have of getting this type of mammogram. So I'm so glad that we're working with both of you, we're collaborating with both of you, and all the grantees are actually collaborating as well.
Yes, in fact, I do get a lot of referrals from...
we do work together.
Yeah, we work together
referral back and forth.
And that's the magic about the Komen grants, is that we all talk, we all collaborate together, because we all have one goal: to end breast cancer and help ensure a healthier future for our residents here.
Yes, that's true.
I just wanted also to add, just in case if you don't know, we do service individuals who are insured or underinsured, those that have insurance and their insurance is not going to pay for their screening until they're 40. So that program, the Komen program, the breast cancer screening education program, will be able to pay for that means during that time of need for the screening.
Right, that's a great point.
As well as ours, yes.
As well as theirs. So you don't have to be uninsured, it could be underinsured, or you just simply cannot afford the copay.
Yes, correct.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here today.
We've
learned a lot about how to send someone for screening and finding out all that information. We're going to be headed to a quick break, and we're going to be talking about the Komen Central Valley Race for the Cure.
Survivors.
Did you know that when you participate and fundraise for the Race for the Cure in Fresno, you're making an investment in a healthier future for local women and men in our community? 75% of the net proceeds from the race stays local to fund life-saving education, screening, and treatment programs. 25% of the remaining proceeds funds breast cancer research.
15 of the most recognizable and influential people throughout this race's history will be recognized today as our 15 Faces for 15 Races. KC24 Anchor was instrumental in bringing the life-saving buddy check program to the Central Valley. We are honored that she's been our Race for the Cure MC for many, many years. Thank you, Stephanie. The lovely Sheriff Margaret Mims. This high-profile community leader elected to take her breast cancer diagnosis public so that she can educate local residents about the importance of early detection. Early detection saves lives, and she is a living, breathing proof of that. Waiting rooms, and there's a lot of people sitting in there, different degrees of being sick. When I went to see him, I said, "Doctor," I said, "look at this, all of these people. And he looked at me and he says, yeah, you must think I think everybody has cancer. And he said, you probably think everybody's a criminal. And he put that into perspective for me. And I've always been thankful for the care I've received, always thankful for the early detection, and my thanks to our medical professionals today. So let's raise a lot of money so they can get with it. Thank you so much.
What's up?
Okay, I guess we're supposed to say something. My name is Jody Joe from the Kiss Country Morning Show. I'm a warrior right now. Last year, yes, all you survivors, you guys made me cry today. I got to walk for the first time. I was diagnosed on June 24th. Last year, Charlie and I were at this race, and I said, Charlie, we have to be a bigger part of this next year. And Charlie said, well, Jody, you went to the extreme this year. You probably shouldn't have gone and got breast cancer just so we could be a bigger part of the COVID race this year. But I didn't do it on purpose, I promise. But I am truly honored to be here today and be a part of all of you who have been a survivor, or you have known somebody who has gone through this. That is why we are all here. And I'll tell you what, as somebody who goes through it, everybody keeps asking me, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? And what you can do for us that are warriors and that are survivors is to support us 100%, because we know that it's you guys that are supporting us that go through almost as tough a road as we do as people who are going through chemotherapy and surgeries. And I thank each and every one of you for being here, and I really do applaud you for supporting what an amazing cause and race this is. And Charlie has been one of my rocks through this whole thing. I think he's cried more than I have about this whole cancer. But thank you everybody for being here, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
This is AJ and Kelly from Y101, our sister station. We acknowledge them. But honestly, people go, what's with the horns, Charlie? And I said, because we're fighting like hell for this cancer. And I gotta say, Jody has just done this in the public. Been out open with it, shaved her head in front of everybody. And I see those mornings where she's sitting there and I know she doesn't feel good, and she pulls it together and I told you! I got this. She fights, she gets on the air, and she supports this, and she gets the message out that you need to check your breast because the mammogram's not always right. And she's a fighter, and I'm her biggest fan, and thank you so much, Komen. Let's beat cancer!
In order to continue funding free mammograms, lymphedema treatment, and breast cancer education for all cultures, we need your help. Please consider taking our Power of 10 challenge to raise $100. It's so easy. Just ask 10 family members, friends, or coworkers for just $10. That $100 can pay for testing for your mom, sister, aunt, or friend. That $100 can help save a life. To learn more about the programs that are available, visit KomenCentralValley.org grants. Thank you for your support. Welcome back to this edition of Why Komen. With me right now is Lynn Gilbank, a project director of a lymphedema clinic grant from Susan G. Komen. And the lymphedema clinic is located at Clovis Community Medical Center. Thank you for joining us, Lynn.
Well, thank you for having me, Sharon.
It's great having you. Let's talk a little bit, first of all, about the name of the project.
Well, we are a lymphedema clinic who treats people who have related issues to swelling, usually because of breast cancer surgery.
Okay. And Can you kind of give me what the diagnosis is of lymphedema?
So someone comes in with the diagnosis of lymphedema, usually as a disruption of the lymphatic system, which can occur during breast cancer surgery.
Okay. Can it happen just from surgery, or can it happen from radiation as well?
That's a good question. Both surgery and radiation can potentially cause an interruption of the lymphatic system, so both could contribute to someone having lymphedema.
So I guess what we should clarify too is that it's the upper extremities when it's related to breast cancer.
That's right. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
What are the symptoms when they come in?
Well, most people will feel a sensation of heaviness in their arm. They'll notice swelling, those sorts of things. And when they come in to see me, they'll often complain of their arm feeling achy, that sort of thing.
Okay. And why is it necessary to treat lymphedema? I know pain control is one, but what are the other aspects?
Well, the biggest concern that we have for people who have swelling in their arm is an infection. The same system that balances the fluid also fights infection. So if we can tell because the person has swelling that that system is impaired, we have to anticipate that perhaps it might also have not do as good a job fighting infection as it did before the surgery. Or
okay. And what are the dangers of not being able to move your fingers, your wrist, or make a fist, or move your elbow? What can happen?
With that sort of situation, it makes it very hard to go about your activities of daily living, particularly if it's your dominant arm. Until one doesn't have the use of their arm, they really don't appreciate how much we use our fingers, our hands, for every moment activities. I was going to say every day, but it's actually every moment. We're opening doors, opening jars, preparing food, getting dressed, performing our hygiene activities. So we want the arm to be as mobile and non-swollen, because if the arm is completely swollen or excessively swollen, it makes it harder to achieve all of those activities.
Is it on the same side that the breast cancer was performed? Is it ever two extremities, just from like a one mastectomy? Can you explain that?
In my experience, you will only have swelling. I've only seen swelling on the side where there's been an interruption.
Okay.
So if the person had a mastectomy on one side, we would not anticipate that the other arm would become swollen.
Okay.
However, I have in my life and in my practice, I don't give absolutes. The whole system is connected, so
right.
I would not say it would never happen, but it's very unusual and I have never seen it.
What type of treatment is necessary to help the swelling?
Well, it depends on how much swelling there is. With a more minimal amount of swelling, we teach the client to do exercises. They'll exercise with us in the clinic. There is a form of massage that we do to help get the fluid moving better. And then we will also give them garments, compression sleeve or glove, to help with that fluid issue. If there is a greater swelling problem, then we perform a series of bandage applications. That's a much more intensive, time-consuming situation, but it's effective in helping that fluid to get out of the arm.
Now, does the patient ever do the bandage therapy at home, or is that something a therapist should only do?
Well, we do make sure that either the patient themselves or their family is capable of bandaging that person.
So they can continue the continuum of care, so that when they come back, hopefully the swelling will be reduced.
Exactly, exactly.
And a patient that is given a referral by a physician that needs assistance in paying for their lymphedema treatment, all they have to do is call the lymphedema clinic, correct?
That's correct. They call and make an appointment.
Okay.
And then when they come in for the first time, we sit and talk about their medical background. I take some measurements, and one of the things that we always include is the financial aspect of their care.
Fantastic.
So we address that, and if they express that they have needs, then we can discuss various options that we have that we can provide because of the grant from Susan G. Komen.
We're very excited that you're with us in this fight against breast cancer and some of the symptoms that follow. Thank you very much, Lynn, for joining us today, and thank you for everything you do for lymphedema patients.
Well, thank you, Sharon. It was my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.